What's going on? I'm Logan with Southeast Coastal Builders, a local builder here based in Martin and Palm Beach County, Florida.
And I'm Jennifer from Jennifer Lynn Interior Design, an interior design firm that's based in Jupiter, Florida. And today we're revealing our guest cottage build that was built here in Loblolly in Hobe Sound, Florida.
Yes, so we collaborated on this build, and she did obviously all the interior design work, and I built the structure from the ground up. The clients came to me and they were interested in building a little guest house. They wanted to increase the square footage. One, it does increase the value of their property they have here, but really they wanted to do it so they can have more family and guests over and have their own little separate area that they can enjoy family time, but not be too close to the main house where you're dealing with all the little kids and things like that.
Your dream home calls your name.
So our client really wanted a special bar kitchenette in this space. So when we were designing the house, we really thought this would be the perfect area to add this little kitchenette for her guests. What was very special about this bar is that the color. We did a custom color, and then we wanted to add all the features of a kitchenette. So we have a microwave oven, we've got a refrigerator that is paneled, of course, so we didn't want to stare at a stainless steel front, so we had Logan's cabinet guy custom make a panel for us that matches the cabinetry. So her guests will have a refrigerator, freezer with ice, a beautiful hammered nickel sink, and then a microwave oven so that they can warm things up.
Excellent. We also plumbed a water purifier underneath as well.
So the clean look of the bar is we've got this beautiful quartz countertop that doesn't distract from the color or the decor in the space. And instead of doing what most people might think of doing as a backsplash with tile, I wanted to bring up the quartz countertop and just have this very clean aesthetic. That was really important to me when we were designing this space. It is a small space, so every element matters, not to compete with each other.
All right.
Okay. So the bunk beds in this space was a really important element, and there was a challenge because we only had so much square footage to work with. So we wanted to maximize the amount of beds that we could have in the space. So we decided to go vertical. So we worked with Logan's carpenter on building this bunk bed, maximizing the storage, and I think he did an excellent job of bringing our vision to life.
Yes, our carpenter did an excellent job. Despite a bunch of revisions that we made to the bunk bed, originally these were going to come out in this direction, but to maximize the space, like she was saying, we pushed the beds against the wall, and we actually were able to increase the size. So it went from a twin size, and now we actually have queen size on the bottom. And one of the cool features of these bunk beds too, to maximize all the storage, is that we have kind of these flush panels here with pressure release valves, or not valves, pressure release latches and hardware on here. Just like that. And we also have it on the steps as well. There we are.
So really just thinking, I mean, it's a small space, so we had to get really creative about how we can maximize every inch for storage was extremely important in the planning phase.
Yeah, and one of the bigger challenges too, from the beginning, was getting the windows in the right locations. So to make sure that the center of these bunk beds was centered with the windows, we had to make sure we were paying very close attention to where the windows were placed at the masonry stage of the build. So very early on, we had to have all this planning done so we could know exactly where the windows had to go.
I love the lighting that we added. I think that's a really neat feature, to have these little reading lights at each bed. And then the little nook too, so people can charge their phones or have a glass of water. It just was everything we did was very intentional and really to just maximize the usage of the space.
Also, we added these shelves in the corners too. So if you're sitting down, maybe you want to put a book there, if you want to have a water bottle or something while you're laying in bed, and you also have the reading light. That was Jennifer's idea with the reading light. That was a really great addition to it. Perfect.
I love how the ceiling came out. That is probably one of my favorite architectural details of this guest cottage.
Yeah, I guess let's talk about the ceiling. So
we went back and forth.
Yeah, it went back and forth, but ultimately it turned out amazing. There was a couple different decisions on what we had to do here, but we ended up going with a nickel joint, tongue and groove ceiling. And my carpenter hates me for what I made him do on this, but such as the areas as the skylights. So that was very difficult for him to do. It took him, you know, a little extra time to do that. Also with all the miters on the ceiling meeting up at the top of the ceiling here to meet perfectly. You know, it looks good in the end, but it's a lot of extra work and to get those details right.
But it really matters. I mean,
Yeah.
it really makes a difference. And the thought that we put into the ceiling really shows in the end product.
Absolutely. It was supposed to end here, and we actually returned the tongue groove all the way through the hallway to give it that finished look. Right.
The bathroom, when we were designing this space, we wanted to make sure that it felt like a hotel suite. That was really important for her guests, and we wanted to maximize every little detail also. So even though it's a smaller space, we still were able to get a really nice size vanity, a beautiful shower that actually flows, the tile flows right from the floor into the shower. So when you're dealing with a small space, it's really best to kind of keep the floor materials the same, and then it makes the space feel larger. Also, the tile work. So we did this beautiful handmade tile on the shower walls, and I really wanted it to flow into the outside of the bathroom as well. So we did this beautiful wainscot tile. So we carried it from the walls, behind the toilet, behind the sink, and then also underneath the window. So really just kind of carrying this design throughout the whole space. It really makes it feel cohesive, well designed, and has that elevated look and feel that we were going for. Our client loves color, and we wanted to show that in the wallpaper in this bathroom. We chose the most perfect shade of blue for this wallpaper that paired nicely with the blue on the sofa and all the blue accents that we did throughout the guest cottage. The furniture layout in this guest cottage was a little challenging since it is, of course, a smaller space. We wanted to maximize the seating while we're maximizing the amount of beds that we have, but still not sacrifice on little details like a little sitting area, a beautiful console under the TV, and then also a really good sized coffee table. This is a perfect spot for playing games and just relaxing. We also have the poofs that are underneath the console. So again, a smaller space, you need to really think about every element and where things are going to go when they're not in use.
So this is a courtyard here that we built for our clients here in Loblolly. This courtyard really changed the whole look of the entire build. Originally, we weren't going to do this. We had already started construction. We were probably 25% of the way done, and we were gonna have just a simple concrete path to meet the pool area. But after giving it some thought, after talking with some landscape designers and really showing the client, you know, how much of a difference this courtyard can make to the whole look of everything, they ultimately decided to go forward with it. So about halfway through the build, we finally got everything finalized. It took some time to figure out what kind of material we wanted to use for the courtyard. But ultimately, we ended up going with a natural coral stone. It has an amazing look to it. The feel of it as well when you're using bare feet out here, if you're by the pool, it feels amazing. It's slip resistant. And we also went as far as doing it, yes, with the turf and the turf in between, but we also carried it up and put it onto the front patio area as well. So we actually had to custom fabricate this coral stone. So it only came in limited size of 2 foot by 2 foot, but to get the really nice looking design with the diamond pattern and the border here, we had to cut them down and get them to that specific size to meet the design requirements of this front patio. So we carried this all the way up to the driveway, so there's a nice path to get there. And we also carried it back here to this nice little hidden area over here that I'll show you right now. So you follow this pathway down here, and it takes you to a nice private outdoor shower. So this is an outdoor shower. This was also added kind of towards just in time, you know, not towards the middle of the build, but right before we put the insulation in and all the drywall, we were able to get this plumbed out here and have a nice outdoor shower for anyone to use when they're using the pool. And the landscaping ended up working nice because we were able to install this to make it a little bit more private for the outdoor shower use.